Most people like to call this time training camp hype season. I like to call it grumpy old man season because honestly, what do we expect to get out of training camp highlight plays? Like, it's called training camp for a reason, not the NFL season. But that being said,
you saw the Laube McConkey catch, right?
Right. It changed my entire opinion on Laube McConkey and his outlook for 2024. That being said, in all seriousness, let's talk about Quentin Johnston because I think he's gotten a significant amount of hype and a significant amount of
roll the
hate.
tape. Let's roll the tape. Pretty bad. Not good. In fact, I saw multiple tweets after this. It was like, I'm cutting Quentin Johnston from my Dynasty roster after this. So let's overreact or underreact, whichever one you choose. I'm curious, are you overreacting or underreacting?
Well, I think I was here before everything happened, and I'm about here now once everything has happened.
You can't do this for every player on the video and say that nothing has changed. It can't be, because nobody's going to watch it.
I'm not going to be like that. Okay. I'm sorry. I do think it is very interesting that Jim Harbaugh has gone out of his way to say that Quentin Johnston has really gotten a bad rap and that he's seen a significant amount of improvement. I would expect that coming from a competent head coach not named Brandon Staley, right? I would expect some improvement from Quentin Johnston, who was going into his rookie year a very developmental prospect and a guy that was, not expected to do a bunch production-wise, but was so bad that he lost a ton of value because, historically speaking, with the yardage that he put up as a rookie, he's not supposed to succeed. Now, that being said, his price is so low at wide receiver 72 in Dynasty right now that I don't think it's a terrible idea to invest in him as a throw-in in your trades right now. Now, once Jim Harbaugh said that, you would expect a little bit of a spike. But after that happened, right, then he had the huge drop. So the drop, like the actual drop of the football. And now he's down to wide receiver 69, or was it wide receiver 69?
So he was at wide receiver 75, right. Jumped up to wide receiver 69. Nice. Yeah. When Jim Harbaugh said that. And then just today, he's dropped 4 more spots.
And he'll keep dropping.
Because of the clip that's going around on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Which is classic Dynasty. And part of the reason we started out with QJ in this video is just to show, like, be a little bit careful with the training camp hype. There are some narratives that are very, very important and very, very worth following. Case in point, Chase Brown getting a lot of the first team snaps right now in Cincinnati. That's something that you're going to want to follow for fantasy and dynasty alike, even though we like Zach Moss. But one guy that I think is really important, really two guys on the same offense that I really want to talk about is A.D. Mitchell and Josh Downs, because this has been a discussion all offseason. Their prices have been all over the place, from pre-draft hype to post-draft hype to preseason expectations for Josh Downs to now expectations for Josh Downs being incredibly low since A.D. Mitchell was drafted to the Colts. But I want to hear what you think about these guys and what A.D. Mitchell has been doing at training camp, which has been very impressive.
So with A.D. Mitchell, this was a guy that we said very athletic, great skill set, liked the fit on the offense. And what did he do? He went out to training camp and made an athletic catch. Okay, cool. I will preface by saying this. We are more plugged in with the Colts than we are any other team in the league. We know the ins and outs of this team, and we have a constant pulse on what the beat writers are saying about the teams at training camp. We could go to training camp every day, but honestly, we find that there's not really an advantage of doing so. So we just make sure that we check the headlines, make sure we know what's going on. With Adonai Mitchell, the headline said, he had an insane catch today. It was insane. It's a really good catch. Watch him separate. That's a crazy catch, right? Okay, so I think this can be true. I think AR can be or Adonai Mitchell can be having a good camp and a solid camp and showcasing his skills without being an elite wide receiver too. Because on the other side of this, I asked our community. I said, which guys do you want me to cover for like training camp hyper risers, things like that? And like 3 people said Josh Downs.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Josh Downs is a big talk here.
And Josh Downs is a guy we've talked about so much this offseason, so I'm hesitant to do so. So I threw him in here with A.D. Mitchell because Josh Downs, it shouldn't be a surprise if you watch our channel, this should not surprise you. Josh Downs last year with what he was able to do, historically, he projects to be a fairly impactful wide receiver 2 in the NFL. He's also a guy that's not fighting for his spot like Alec Pierce is. You have a lot of people on Twitter on the flip side of things with Adonai Mitchell saying, are you guys kidding me? He's not even starting over Alec Pierce, which is true. The correct answer is somewhere in between. However, with Josh Downs, we knew on this channel at least that Josh Downs was going to be a good value this year, not only in Dynasty, but in fantasy, and that he was going to be productive. He had 98 targets last year and 68 receptions in his first year in the NFL. He had 771 yards as well, with 2 touchdowns on 11 yards per catch. So again, with Downs is the wide receiver 2 in Indy. This is not changing because of that video of Adonai Mitchell. And with both of these guys, I'm curious to see, since I had a lot of people request Josh Downs, has he gone up in value a little bit since? He really hasn't. he's really stayed the same. So I'll continue to say this. I think Josh Downs is somebody that if you can get him as a target in your Dynasty Fantasy Football leagues, you take advantage of it. He's a throw-in level guy. This is a perfect throw-in. I want him everywhere. I'm still trading for him until he goes back up to wide receiver, even 40. Like, there's no reason not to be sending deals for Josh Downs. As for Adonai Mitchell in Dynasty, I do think that his price was a little bit overinflated for my liking during like rookie draft season.
Yeah.
He hasn't really dropped at all. He's still the wide receiver 46. But again, he's still going higher than Josh Downs. Different players. I understand why you'd want one or the other. I'm still not like, especially if his value goes up from here, I'm still not like really trying to go get Adonai Mitchell. Not yet. Not yet. Because again, odds are he has more of a slow rookie season than he does like a breakout rookie season.
Yeah. And as far as the catches and the performance in training camp goes, I mean, this is something that we saw really, really similar with Alec Pierce lining up on the outside, getting those, big balls downfield.
Right.
And that's just stuff that everyone's going to do per usual. It is encouraging to see A.D. Mitchell be able to showcase his route running ability and contested catch ability for sure, because that's something that we wanted to see translate to the NFL. We're seeing a step forward in the right direction in training camp. But again, let's temper the expectations a little bit with him, and let's continue to buy low on Josh Downs now.
And let's look at some trades that we found on our trade finder on flockfantasy.com with Josh Downs. Rashad White for Josh Downs and Ricky Pearsall, okay? Josh Downs for a second and a third. I'm buying at both of those prices, okay? Debo for Josh Downs straight up. I would take Debo. Jalen Waddle for Josh Downs in a second. That's a 1 QB league. It's still not even close to taking Waddle. Keenan Allen in a second for Downs and Freiermuth. Give me Downs there.
Yeah.
Some bigger trades here. Josh Downs and Joe Flacco for a 25 first. I'm taking the first there for sure. So again, Josh Downs for a second. It's all over the place here, but there are definitely some reasonable deals going down for Josh Downs right now that I think you should be focused on. Essentially where I'm seeing him being traded straight up is for a second round pick. For the most part.
Yeah.
So I think if you can get him at that price still, he's still a very good value. We are thrilled to announce that Blueprint 2.0 has been released. This is like Blueprint 1.0, but better.
2.0.
There's a 2 in front of it now. No, seriously. I'll link in the description a video of us breaking down this team review. We designed this to be a better, more in-depth, more detailed team review and build upon our original Blueprint product. Our original Blueprint's still going to come with memberships, things like that. But you can get a Blueprint 2.0 if you go to flockfantasy.com. And again, the link's in the description, the link's in the comments. To get a Blueprint 2.0, you get a 30% discount when you're a domain Motherflocker. So like I said, flockfantasy.com/domain. Use code domain when you sign up. You get a Blueprint 1.0 for free when you subscribe to the annual tier. And you also get a 30% discount on any other team reviews after that, including Blueprint 2.0. So pumped to announce that, but let's get back to it. So, all right, next guy on this list.
Yeah, Chase Brown is a guy that I alluded to earlier in this video, and I do think it's worth touching on him for Dynasty especially. I mean, the guy is, he's going to be 25. He's 24 right now as a second-year running back. We knew he was coming out late in the 2023 rookie class. Draft capital reflected that. But that said, towards the end of last year, since he was kind of, closing the book on the season, getting ready for 2024, they let Chase Brown get his opportunities, and he did shine in small sample sizes. He didn't get a ton of snap share opportunity, like nothing ridiculous. So this is all, again, very small sample sizes, no like bell cow workload stuff that we can, extrapolate to an entire season. But it was enough, especially in the passing game, that we could see that translate to his performance in 2024. I mean, I remember I was in person watching Chase Brown when they played Minnesota in December, and he stood out to me. He was one of the guys outside of, all the dominant wide receivers that were playing in that game. He was the low-key guy that I was like, dang, he seems like he could be a real threat in the passing game, a real nice second running back option for the Cincinnati Bengals in the future. And I mean, you're seeing that reflected in his yards per reception, yards per catch. 26 yards per catch week 14, 9 in week 15, 11 in week 17, 10 in week 18. That's right around the range that we want to see, those actual legitimate receiving threats at the running back position perform from an efficiency perspective there. That's the range that's sustainable and really is going to earn them a spot on their team to get significant volume. And I think you're seeing that reflected in training camp this year with Chase Brown. He is getting a majority of the first team snaps for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, there is a lot that goes into this, right? There's a lot of angles that you could analyze this and break this down. Here's how I like to look at it. You can look at it a different way. That's totally fine. I think Zach Moss has already shown in large sample sizes in real NFL games that he is capable of taking a bell cow workload. I think Chase Brown has not yet. With the financial investment that the Cincinnati Bengals have put into Zach Moss, he's kind of locked into the role that he's going to get.
Sure.
Which is, splitting carries, yes, with Chase Brown, but I would still guess 35, 65, 60-40, that type of split in favor of Zach Moss getting most of those carries.
For sure.
With Chase Brown getting a majority of the opportunities in the first team snaps in training camp, I think since he's trying to see what they can get out of Chase Brown, they already know what they have in Zach Moss. That's just kind of my stance on it. With Chase Brown, they haven't seen him get a ton of carries. They've seen his receiving upside. He got the most carries he ever got in a game was against Indy, 8 carries for 25 yards. Wildly inconsistent, wildly inefficient across the board in those last 6 games of the season. So that's kind of where I'm at with him right now.
Yeah, let's talk. This is an age-old tradition here on Old Dynasty Domain. From the second we were destined to have a Dynasty channel, we've been talking about Justin Fields and how the narrative around him is absolute dog crap all the time. It always is. Because Justin Fields, Russell Wilson missed a day because of this or that or whatever. I don't know. He had something. And Justin Fields came out there. He had one good pass. I mean, and this is it. This is all it takes.
Into double coverage.
One good pass into double coverage. And yeah, am I being a hater here? Yeah. Am I doing it to be funny? Yes. And you look, boom, little keep trade cut spike right away. I looked yesterday, I was like, oh no, spike. Spike came last night. We found it. And then,
he's the QB 28.
Well, and so here he is value adjacent in Dynasty on keep trade cut to Matthew Stafford. He is one spot away from Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, have you seen his contract? This is a guy that just got paid.
Guaranteed $100 million.
$100 million.
Won't stop saying it. I know you're tired of hearing it. I won't stop saying it until it
Justin Fields is higher now than Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Geno Smith. 3 starters this year. Oh, okay. Today, a video was going around about Justin Fields where he threw into double coverage again, but this time it was an absolute freaking hospital ball, and it got picked off. I mean, this is why. And I want to go back to this. Luke, find these comments because I will never let these receipts go. This is why when we made the video after Justin Fields got traded and basically said, keep your head above the waves. It was our keep your head above the waves video. Everybody knows that if you've been here. We said, keep your head above the waves. His value is going to spike back up. You're going to be able to sell him for more. And people are like, this is sunk cost fallacy. This is sunk cost fallacy. Dude, you seriously think that he's not going to go back up in value? Do you know what a sunk cost is? A sunk cost has no chance in going back up in value. This is Dynasty. This is Justin Fields. You don't think Justin Fields has a chance to go back up in value? The dude could clip his toenail perfectly and he'd go up 4 spots on keep trade cut. So sunk cost fallacy, my butt, first of all. And second of all, stop with Justin Fields, guys. Stop it. Get some help. Please. This is ridiculous. And I'm not, look, I've still got him on the team where I drafted him in the 4th round like an idiot. Like a complete idiot that I am. I should be working at Taco Bell. But I'm not selling him yet. Why? Because he's still got room to go up in value. Because the next time he throws a touchdown pass at camp, man, I can get twice the price for him. How about that, right? Do not, and I repeat, look at me, do not buy Justin Fields in Dynasty. Do not do it. Please.
Seriously, why would you? Why?
Next.
Greg Dulcich, getting a decent amount of hype out of Denver Broncos training camp. In fairness, he was injured for a majority of his 2nd season last year, 1st year under Coach Sean Payton. Came back, just didn't really do much. He never really got implemented in the offense. There is definitely an avenue for him to be a productive tight end. Look, he's playing alongside Bo Nix, playing with Bo Nix, who we know what Bo Nix is as a quarterback. He's very safe. He's very Brock Purdy-esque, and that means that he's going to do what Sean Payton tells him to do, and he's going to execute it well. And he's going to be very efficient in the way that he does that. And that probably means a lot of short to intermediate passes, right? His adjusted yards per pass attempt after his rookie year, I guarantee you, is going to be one of the lower ones in the league. Because that's just what's going to happen. Yeah. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, again, with the type of quarterback, the type of system that Sean Payton wants to run. And that could, in theory, bode well for Greg Dulcich as the tight end there, who has shown legitimate flashes. I'm not saying like one game, one-off flashes, like the Greg Dortches of the world and stuff like that. I'm talking about like legitimate flashes where Greg Dulcich could be an impactful player in that offense and potentially be fantasy productive as well in 2024. I think his rookie season playing alongside Russ, he had some games there where it was like, ooh, we're starting to get really excited about him.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he had flashes for sure.
We liked him as a prospect as well, as a 2022 tight end prospect. I don't think our opinion of him has really changed. I think we're just reinforcing the opportunity that he could have there. Do we think he's going to have an elite level tight end breakout? No, I wouldn't say that. We're just saying this is where you make your money in Dynasty, is through small value wins. And the game or the two games that Greg Dulcich strings together where he scores 2 touchdowns is going to be when his price doubles.
Up and away.
Is when he's going to be the same price as Pat Freiermuth, the same price as, he's already around Pat Freiermuth, I think. Same price range as like a Jake Ferguson. Like it's absolutely possible because of what he's showcased in the past.
Yeah, I mean, he's value equivalent to a 26 early third Brandon Cooks, Damian Pierce, Ezekiel Elliott, Tyron Tracy, Cole Herbert. I mean, this is a guy that's
his value spike.
And we've talked about this. Like when you're drafting later in Dynasty startups, a good thing to do is to
take shots on tight ends.
There's no better shot to take on a cheap tight end than Greg Dulcich because of how talented he is.
The best thing about it, it's very similar to backup quarterbacks that at some point in time, if they're on a bad offense, are going to get an opportunity to start for a game or two. They don't even have to produce for their price to go up.
Right.
Tight ends and backup quarterbacks. See Sam Howell last year, right? See Spencer Rattler this year, who's getting his fair share of training camp hype at the moment. I didn't even intend to bring him up here, but I just did. This is a relevant Dynasty guy to bring up. Spencer Rattler. Of course, you're going to see all of those videos coming out of Rattler throwing dimes down the field and these beat writers saying that he's going to have the opportunity to be the QB1 come end of season. Of course he is.
Duh.
Derek Carr is out the door at the end of 2024. They only have him on the team. He's only on the roster because they owe him so much money because they were dumb enough to trade for him to begin with. Spencer Rattler absolutely has room to be the top option there. That doesn't mean anything. I don't think he's going to be a successful quarterback long-term in the NFL. I could eat my words. I don't think I am. What I know I'm not going to eat my words about is Spencer Rattler's price going up at the end of the season.
Do you think Greg Dulcich could be a top 12 tight end producing this year?
As bare as the landscape still is, absolutely he could.
Absolutely he could.
Absolutely
it's not
could.
saying that much. We know it's not saying that much, but how much would it say to the Dynasty community if he had a 11 by his name this year? He'd probably be going top 10 rounds.
Yes.
And he's going in the teens, late teens right now.
Yes.
You're talking about a monumental value win that's right there for the taking. Now, if you're trying to look,
and some of it could be logically merited as well because it is such a wide open passing room or receiving
there's
room
no
there.
there's
no one there.
It's Troy
Franklin, and we kind of know what Troy Franklin is. So
the 4th round wide receiver. And with Greg Dulcich, if you can get him for a third, take Dulcich for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next guy here and let's talk about Dylan. Oh man, I do not know how to pronounce his last name.
Laube.
Laube?
Yep.
Dylan Laube. Tell me if I'm wrong. Who is obviously the Raiders' backup running back. I do at least know that much. I do at least know that he was getting some hype a little bit during the offseason because Zamir White was the starter and not a ton of people are very high on Zamir White.
It was what Antonio Pierce said, and that's he basically said, I think he's going to be a really good asset for us in this year. And people took that out of context and they forgot to mention the fact that he said, I think he's going to be a really nice third down option occasionally and a great asset on special teams.
And he's gritty.
Right.
Oh,
right,
he's gritty.
Right. That said, in all seriousness with Dylan Laube, we've literally brought him up in some of our sleeper videos where it's like, hey, go ahead and just go pick him up. Go take a shot on him because he's one of those rookie running backs that went in the later rounds that doesn't have a dominant running back in front of him, and he could take over and has an avenue to be productive in that offense given the right situation, given the right opportunity. And that still does stand, but let's not overreact with the hype in training camp. Let's wait and see what he actually does during the year. And if you get a value spike earlier than we expected, then just trade him now. Like for me, the reason we were saying take shots on Laube was in anticipation of a spike like this. We just didn't think it was going to come during training camp.
Sure.
We thought it would come later. Since it is here, if you see, again, a significant spike where someone's like, hey, I got to go get Laube. Hey, I have Zamir White. I got to get Laube as a handcuff just in case. Go take advantage of that opportunity and go get the future draft capital. Go get a player that's actually going to be worth potentially flexing as an option for you if you're a contender as well. That's what I would recommend to you. It's not a hard sell, definitely not a buy. Do not buy the hype right now, please. But let's be realistic with our expectations with Laube. Even though he is a nice dart throw sleeper, he's becoming less and less of a dart throw sleeper because more and more people know his name.
Dude, guess what Jameson Williams did at camp this week? Just guess.
This week?
This week.
I know last week he threw up.
That's what I was going to say.
Did he throw up again?
He puked.
He puked again?
I mean, I'm considering moving him up in my rankings.
I mean, yeah, every time I puke, I move myself up my rankings.
Every time Jameson Williams pukes, he moves up one spot in my wide receiver rankings. He's up 6-7 spots now.
In March, when I got food poisoning, if you saw how many times I puked, I would have been the number 1 dynasty asset on your rankings.
You know what? I honestly, I wasn't sure about JMO this year, but he's not only puking, he's puked multiple times. And guess what he does after he's done puking? He goes back to practice.
He goes right back.
That the perseverance and the bravery, even, I would say, sheer bravery that James... This is the kind of stuff we're talking about.
Guys. Let's be realistic with the Jameson Williams expectations in Detroit. What do we know about Dan Campbell and the culture that he's established with the Detroit Lions franchise? Toughness, resilience, right? Fighting through adversity. This is just an example of Jameson Williams buying into that whole philosophy. Everyone, from the best player from Amon-Ra St. Brown to Craig Reynolds and the cut candidates on that team, have that mindset because Dan Campbell is such a good culture coach, such a good culture fit for that team and for that franchise. Jameson Williams, it's great to see that he's buying into that this year, but that in no way changes the role that he plays in that offense. I don't care if he pukes 5 times a day. He's getting 4 targets a week. He's not out targeting Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs. It's just not happening, guys. I'm sorry.
Let's have a competition between the number of times JMO pukes and how many targets he gets during training camp. Come on, you know that's funny. Come on, just let us have fun. Look, with JMO, there was a couple of videos of him going around, winning a route at the line of scrimmage, which for him, that's a big deal.
It's good. It'll be, I truly believe, as an NFL fan, Jameson Williams is key to the Lions taking that next elite step up in their offense, because if he can be a consistent deep threat, and that's not consistent targets and opportunity every single week, that's a consistent threat that everyone has to focus on week in and week out, is really going to help that offense as a whole and help other guys produce as well. So that's encouraging to see, again, from an NFL perspective. But when you're looking at fantasy, to me, the vomit and the work ethic and all this stuff doesn't change what he's going to do production wise, and it shouldn't make him move up rankings at all.
All right, there you go. And again, a lot of this was old man yells at clouds. Yeah, we do, because again,
it is grumpy old man season.
Because this wouldn't be necessary if these little headlines didn't supposedly warrant changes in dynasty value. But people adjust their opinions, rankings, and overall views on players because of this stuff. And guys, I'm here to tell you, it could matter. You've seen it matter with guys like Isaiah Pacheco. This was an Isaiah Pacheco thing. Yeah, he ended up being the starter there. Yeah, he's a dynasty. Look, there are times where it matters, but there are times where he's just throwing up. And he probably just ate Doritos before practice. You just don't eat Doritos. That's the story, right? So again, and the only guy really here that I will admit to being a hater on is Fields, because I guess we just own that identity now. So all right, make sure
we talked about guys that we think the talk is legitimate.
No, we did. All right, make sure you drop a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe if you play Dynasty. We're trying to get to 15,000 subscribers before the first game of the NFL season, which is just over or just under 40 days away. It's really close.
Really close.
This is the Hall of Fame
Hall of Fame game coming up this week. You know what I'm doing on Thursday night, baby? I'm watching the Hall of Fame game for the first 10 minutes, and I'm going to realize again how absolutely horrible it is, and I'm going to go watch the Olympics.
Yeah, a couple things like I mentioned earlier.
The Olympics have been very helpful, for sure.
Yeah,
They've really helped me get through these last
period. Yeah.
It is the worst time.
Yeah,
of the
it's
year.
the worst. No basketball, no football. It's what do I do with my hands? Like I mentioned earlier, Blueprint 2.0 is out. You can get that at the link in our comments and also in the description. You can get a free Blueprint 1.0 with any annual Motherflocker membership with flockfantasy.com using code DOMAIN. You can also get live blueprints, but all that's available on the site. Also, like I mentioned Actually, I haven't mentioned this on here, but we will be in Austin, Texas the week of August 19th, and we will be doing a meetup there. So if you're interested in tickets,
much stuff.
we're going to be at a bar. There's going to be half-price beer and stuff like that. So, like, it's going to be fun. So we'd love to see you there if you're in Austin or in Texas and you want to come out and hang with us and some of the other creators on the Flock site. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.